Okay, so this week in your reading groups, you're learning the reading strategy inferring. Now, you might be a little bit confused because you know this is a writing clip and all of a sudden I've started talking about reading. But this week, our reading strategies and our writing strategies are going to be linked. So, as a reader, we learn how to infer. And of course, by now you should know that if you are inferring, then you are picking up all of the clues that the writer has left for you to see if you can figure out information. So as a reader, we use clues that the writer has left us to find out information about the story. Now, because we're writing, this week we are going to look at what a writer does to make the reader infer, and that's called implying information. So implying information is when the writer leaves the clues to make the reader infer. So this week in our writing, in our reading, we're going to practice picking up the clues and using them. And in our writing, we're going to practice leaving the clues to make our reader infer information. We're not going to tell them everything. We're going to just leave them clues so they can figure it out on their own. So in our reading inferring clip this week, we looked at an example of a sentence that said, Jan flew into the room with a huge smile on her face. So if we look at that sentence again, we can start looking at some of the clues that the writer left in this example. So we can figure out pretty easily that Jan's feeling pretty happy or excited about something. So the clues that they've left us are that she flew into the room and that she had a huge smile on her face. Those things tell us how Jan's feeling. Well, they give us enough clues that we can figure it out on our own. So together we're going to practice doing a couple of examples of thinking about what we want to tell the reader, but what kinds of clues we can leave them, okay, so they can figure it out on their own. So we're going to start with two emotions and we're going to make some sentences together. So the first one that we're going to do together is we're going to start with the emotion surprised. Okay, so here I've done a little brainstorm about the kinds of things that your body might show if you were surprised. I've got your mouth might be open, eyes wide, in shock, and your body is probably going to be still if you've gotten a big surprise. Okay, so we don't have to use all of those things, but it's good to brainstorm some little ideas so that you can think about what kinds of information or what clues you can leave in your sentence. So I might use this piece of information, mouth open, and I might use eyes wide as well, and I'm going to write this sentence. Okay, so I've written, Grandma's eyes were wide and her mouth dropped open. So I've chosen two of my clues there to leave for the reader so that they can start to figure out that Grandma's feeling surprised about something. Okay, so the second sentence we're going to write about is we're going to write about a student who's really bored. Okay, so I've got a few ideas here in a little brainstorm. I've got they're not focused, yawning, and blinking slowly. So the sentence that I'm going to write to show that the person is really bored is going to look like this. Okay, so I've written, his eyes gazed out the window as he let out a big yawn. So I've left two clues for the reader, that his eyes were gazing out the window, he wasn't very focused, and that he was yawning. So that should be enough clues for my reader to figure out that he was bored. I don't have to tell them the boy was bored. I can just leave them those clues and they should be able to figure it out on their own. I'm forcing them to use their inferring strategy as a reader. All right, so the last thing you're going to do before you start your piece of writing for today is I've left you a little challenge, okay? So I've given you a brainstorm of some things that somebody who's angry might be doing. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go away and you're going to see if you can write one sentence using some of these clues that implies that the person in your sentence is angry. You're not going to tell the reader straight out. You're going to make them infer by just leaving them a few of those clues. Okay, remember you don't have to use everything in the brainstorm, but the first thing you need to do before you start your writing is you need to come to me and show me your one sentence, okay? I'll stamp it with my purple stamp if you've done a good job, and then I'll send you a way to start on your writing. Okay, good luck. I'm looking forward to reading your sentences.